IMDb has sparked embezzlement and money laundering investigations across at least 10 countries, and a search for an enormous pile of missing money. Started in 2009 by the then government under Najib Razak, the fund's early initiatives included buying privately owned power plants and planning a new financial district in Kuala Lumpur. But 1MDB proved better at borrowing than attracting investment, ultimately finding itself $12 billion in debt. Investigators have been trying to find out how money flowed through and around the fund.
1MDB remains one of the largest state-sponsored financial scandals in global history. To analyze exactly how the institutional fraud occurred, this presentation maps out the structural failures, illicit capital routes, and systemic procurement loopholes that allowed billions in public funds to be drained. $4.5 billion was allegedly misappropriated from the Malaysian State Investment Fund and used to buy luxury real estate, expensive works of art, and even to produce a Hollywood movie about, of all things, financial fraud. But how did they do it? According to the US Department of Justice, one strategy involved setting up bank accounts under fake company names that resemble real firms. BlackRock Commodities Global Limited sounds a lot like the Global Investment Manager, while Affinity Equity International Partners Limited could easily be mistaken for the private equity firm. There's no law against this, but it could help put investigators off the scent. Another scheme saw money transferred to trust accounts at US law firms. Client confidentiality rules in the US mean these accounts are barely regulated, making suspicious transactions difficult to find. The DOJ alleges that firms like Sherman and Sterling and DLA Piper were unwittingly used to sneak $1 billion from 1MDB into the US. The third strategy allegedly employed is what the DOJ calls relayering, moving funds from bank accounts to bank account, adding layers of complexity until the original source of the fund is camouflaged. Let's follow the money allegedly used to buy this pink diamond necklace for Datin Sri Rosmah Mansor, the wife of former Malaysian Prime Minister and founder of 1MDB, Datuk Sri Najib Tun Abdul Razak. It all started with a $3 billion bond arranged by Goldman Sachs in 2013 that was issued by a wholly owned subsidiary of 1MDB Incorporated in the British Virgin Islands, and the proceeds were earmarked for a joint venture with a firm in Abu Dhabi. But instead of heading to the Middle East, most of the money was transferred into an account at Swiss private bank BSI in Lugano. From there, the DOJ claims it was shifted to investment funds in offshore centers. The money was wired by a correspondent bank account at JP Morgan Chase in the US to two accounts at the Singapore branch of Swiss private bank Falcon Bank. Funds went back and forth between these accounts, adding layer upon layer of complication, gradually obscuring the origin. Eventually, $681 million was transferred from into a Malaysian bank account held by Datuk Sri Najib Tun Abdul Razak. The sum he insists was a political donation from the Saudi royal family. 5 months later, most of it was returned. The money bounced around accounts at Falcon and DBS Bank in Singapore before a sum of $27.3 million was, according to the DOJ, wired to jeweler Lauren Swartz to buy the necklace. The complexity of these cross-border flows has made getting to the bottom of the 1MDB fraud painstaking and difficult. But with Malaysian government keen to burnish its graft-fighting credential and claw back the money stolen, the investigation shows no signs of slowing down.
First, the scandal was enabled by high-level political control. 1MDB was founded in 2009, and then Prime Minister Najib Razak served as both its co-founder and chairman of its advisory board. This gave him significant influence over the fund's major financial decisions. This is Joe Low, a Malaysian financier who was never officially employed by 1MDB but secretly controlled billions of dollars through a network of shell companies. Between 2012 and 2013, Goldman Sachs arranged 3 bond issuances for 1MDB, raising a total of $6.5 billion. In return, Goldman Sachs earned over $600 million in fees, which was unusually high compared to normal market rates. Investigations later found that serious warning signs were ignored, and in 2020 Goldman Sachs paid a $3 billion settlement. Next came the diversion of funds. More than $4.5 billion was allegedly stolen through a complex money laundering scheme involving shell companies across several countries. Over $1 billion was linked to Najib's personal accounts. The money financed luxury assets, including the $350 million yacht Equanimity, expensive artwork, celebrity parties, and even the Hollywood film The Wolf of Wall Street. Several individuals helped facilitate the scheme. Former Goldman Sachs banker Tim Leisner and banker Ing Senting were both convicted for their roles. The scandal was exposed in 2015 by journalist Claire Rucastle-Brown, while whistleblowers and leaked documents revealed billions of dollars missing from 1MDB's accounts. The scale of the scandal was enormous. More than $4.5 billion was misappropriated, making it one of the world's biggest financial fraud cases. In 2024, the U.S. Department of Justice successfully returned $1.4 billion in recovered assets to Malaysia. The 1MDB scandal demonstrates how weak oversight, political influence, and international financial networks can combine to enable large-scale corruption. Beyond the financial losses, the scandal also highlights the importance of transparency and accountability in both the public and private sectors. When institutions fail to provide effective checks and balances, individuals in positions of power may be able to make major financial decisions without sufficient scrutiny. This can create opportunities for abuse, especially when large sums of money are involved. Another important lesson from the 1MDB case is the role of global financial systems in facilitating cross-border transactions.
Good day everyone. In this section, I will discuss the impact of the 1MDB scandal on Malaysia. Although the scandal began as a financial issue, its effect went far beyond that. There are four major impacts that resulted from the 1MDB scandal. First, it caused a decline in public trust. Secondly, it damaged Malaysian reputation internationally. Third, it had negative effect on the economy. Lastly, it increased the burden on taxpayers as public funds were used to manage consequences of the scandal. The 1MDB scandal caused a significant decline in public trust. When allegations of fund mismanagement and corruption surfaced, many Malaysians began to question the integrity and accountability of government institutions. Public confidence in the government's ability to manage national finance was weakened, and citizens became more concerned about transparency and responsibility of the governance. Secondly, the scandal damaged Malaysian reputation on the international stage. News about the 1MDB case received widespread attention from major international media outlets and led to investigation in several countries. As a result, Malaysia became associated with corruption and financial misconduct, which negatively affect the country's image and credibility in the eyes of the global community. Another major consequence was the impact on the Malaysian economy. The controversy created uncertainty among investors and reduced confidence in the country's financial management. In addition, the government had to deal with debts and financial obligations related to 1MDB. This issue placed additional pressure on public finance and diverted resources that could have been used for national development. Perhaps the biggest impact was felt by ordinary Malaysians. Taxpayer money was used to address some of the debt and liability associated with the scandal. This means that funds which could have been allocated to important sectors such as education, healthcare, infrastructure, and public welfare had to be used to manage the financial consequences of the crisis.
Welcome to our podcast discussion on the cause of corruption, how procurement scandal drains public funds. Today, we will discuss the 1MDB scandals and its impact on Malaysia. Joining us today is a manager from Small and Medium Enterprise SME in the service sector. Thank you for being with us today. As a manager in the service industry, do you think corruption can damage Malaysian economy?
Well, yes, corruption can affect the economy in many ways. When public funds are misused, there's less money available for things like infrastructure, education, and other development projects. So in the long run, it can slow down economic growth and reduce opportunity for businesses.
How does this affect SMEs like yours?
Well, SME rely heavily on a stable economy and a fair business environment. So when corruption affects investor confidence, businesses may struggle to grow and attract new opportunities. Besides that, it can also reduce government spending on projects and services that support local businesses, which make things more challenging for SME.
Why is transparency important in government procurement?
I think transparency is very important because it helps ensure that projects are awarded fairly and that public money is used wisely. For SME, a transparent procurement system means we have an equal chance to compete for government contracts. Besides that, it helps prevent favoritism and reduce the risk of funds being misused.
Do you think the 1MDB scandal affected Malaysia's reputation?
Yes, definitely. The scandal received a lot of international attention and raised serious concerns about governance and accountability. So naturally, it affects how some investors view Malaysia. A country's reputation matters because investors want to know that the business environment is transparent and trustworthy.
What role can citizens and businesses can play in preventing corruption?
I believe everyone has a role to play. As a citizen, we should stay informed and speak up when we see unethical practices. Businesses also need to follow ethical standards. So by working together and promoting transparency, we can help strengthen accountability and reduce corruption.
Thank you for sharing your views.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Hafid, and my part in this video is to get public opinion regarding the topics. So we have right now with us here is Nur Hidayah. Nur Hidayah, could you please give some introduction about yourself?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Hidayah Bukas Ramanuddin. Right now I'm working in finance department in government sector.
Okay, alright. Let's get back to the topics. So we all know the issues regarding 1MDB. In your opinion, Puan Hidayah, how do you think this issue has affect the nation development? What is your opinion about the issue?
From my point of view, when public funds get jeopardized, it does give some effects towards the nation development.
I see. Moving on. In your opinion also, how do you think is the best way for us to restore back the people's trust towards the public institution after this issue has happened?
To me, enforcement is very important. Every person in charge should show their integrity. Enforcing total supervising is a must to avoid misuse of public funds from happening.
So you think total supervision is the best way to control the issues?
Yes.
Okay, alright, okay. Moving on to the last question. Again, in your opinion, do you think the current punishment in the justice system is strong enough to teach other people a lesson and to apply prevention? Do you think the justice system is good enough now?
From my opinion, I fully trust our judiciary system and the related authority we have now. I can see the separation of power in the branches. It has no meaning.
Good morning. Thank you for agreeing to participate in this interview. My name is Mafatin Azila bin Hassan, and I'm conducting this interview to gather public opinion regarding the 1MDB issue.
Thank you for inviting me for this interview, Nadia.
Firstly, what is your general opinion about the 1MDB scandal, and how did you feel when you first heard about it?
In my opinion, 1MDB scandal is one of the serious financial scandal in Malaysia's history. And when it first came out to public, many Malaysians were very shocked by the amount of the money involved, and also the accusation of mismanagement and the corruptions. And it also highlighted the weakness in governance, financial oversight, and also accountability in public institutions.
How do you think the 1MDB issue has affected Malaysia's image and reputation, both locally and internationally?
I believe 1MDB scandal had a significant impact on the Malaysia's reputations because the case attracted worldwide attention. The investigation were conducted in several countries. International media outlets also extensively reported on the issues. As a result, many people aware of the Malaysia because of the negative reason, because of the 1MDB scandals, rather than known by economic achievement or cultural development.
What lesson do you think Malaysian and future leaders can learn from the 1MDB case?
I think many lessons that Malaysia can learn from 1MDB case, 1MDB scandal case. First, the importance of the transparency and the accountability in managing public funds. And also government agency and also public officials should ensure to use the resources responsibly. Second, the scandal demonstrates the needs of the strong anti-corruption and independent institution to investigate the wrongdoing without interference. And third, it reminds us, the citizen, to inform the national issue and always participate in democratic process. The public aware of decision affect the country, it becomes easier to demand accountability and encourage a good government.
Good day, everyone. In conclusion, the issue of corruption in public procurement, especially highlighted in the 1MDB case, shows how serious financial mismanagement can affect a country. It not only causes major financial losses, but also reduce public trust to government institutions and also slow down national development. To address this issue, the stronger enforcement of laws and stricter monitoring system are necessary. Transparency in government procurement processes should be improved to ensure all financial acts are properly accounted for. In addition, continuous efforts in educating the public about integrity and anti-corruption awareness are important to build more responsible society. As a recommendation, future leaders and organizations should prioritize accountability and ethical decision-making in all financial matters. Collaboration between government bodies and anti-corruption agencies should also be structured to prevent similar cases from happening again. Ultimately, corruption prevention is a shared responsibility and it requires commitment from all levels of society. Thank you.